Zig Ziglar. Ziglar. Inspiring true performance.
Let's get right back into it. Zig, you had something that you wanted to say from before the break.
I sure did. To hitchhike on what Linda had to say, I completely agree about living the way you're talking about, because people won't always believe everything you say, but they will always believe the example you have set for them. And when you do everything with integrity, then you can always come through in shining colors with those people. Francis Fukuyama, a Japanese scientist, said about trust, and that's what we're really talking about here, that he could measure the level of progress in a nation itself by the level of trust in that nation, and certainly in corporate America and in the home. Same thing happens. So Linda and I are sure on the same page on that one.
You know, it's interesting, the root word of integrity, if you remember high school math, integer, and an integer is a whole number. So the root word of integrity means whole. And I think that what's interesting is we talk about what you say and what you do. And if you're doing, if you're saying one thing, doing another, you're not whole, you're divided. You got these two parts. And that's what creates this discrepancy and breaks trust when they see us saying one thing, doing another. So, well, let's talk about the ramifications of having integrity. What do you get? You know, there might be people watching today saying, okay, so what do you really get when you act with integrity? What are the results of it or the benefits of it?
Well, first of all, you feel good about yourself because you know you've done the right thing in the right way. And so, as I mentioned earlier, that removes any guilt possibility. But it also enables you to focus on the future and not have to worry about something you've done in the past. So many times in our society today, people have been taught, that, well, everything is relative. Which is ridiculous. Some things are absolutely right, some things are absolutely wrong. The people at Enron, they were relatively honest. I mean, they didn't lie about everything, but enough to destroy a whole lot of lives. And so you have so many benefits for doing it right. I ask in public audiences, how many of you would hire an accountant, a CPA, or a treasurer who admitted that he or she was just relatively honest? I've never seen
80% of the time.
I've never seen a hand go up yet. And when I come home from an out-of-town trip, I guarantee you my wife has never asked me, now, honey, tell me the truth. Were you relatively faithful to me while you were gone? I don't think she ever will ask me that question either.
So now, in your situation, what did you see as the benefits of having integrity? What were the outcomes you saw?
Well, of course, I agree with everything that Zig said. I mean, you can sleep better at night. What I found is, we sustained our position in the marketplace. We experienced growth because we were all unified and working with integrity. And again, you may not experience the benefits short term, but long term, I can assure you that they will be there. And of course, I don't like to focus on the ramifications of not acting with integrity, but of course we see it and every day and hear it on the news with leaders of well-known companies that have not acted in integrity, and the sentencing that's coming down on those individuals. It's just astounding.
Now, was there ever a time in your career where you had a specific time where it was kind of crunch time on the integrity front, where you had a hard choice that you had to make?
Probably the best example for me personally, particularly in a sales organization, is when it comes to individuals acting as integrity, that are employees that have appeared to be loyal for years. I had an individual that was with me for many years, a top performer, top producer, produced, he had a book of business about $50 million, which to the bottom line was a significant amount, hundreds of thousands of gross margin. And I became aware that this individual was buying clients and being dishonest in many ways, including expenses and other areas. Well, an easy thing to do would be to, turn the other way and ignore it, or
especially with that much money coming in, right?
Exactly.
That's the crunch.
Exactly. But I knew I had to do the right thing. I knew that if I wasn't consistent, again, in my role as a leader and what I'm trying to create as far as the culture was concerned in the company, that I had to act on it, and I did. I had to terminate the employee and pulled the team together. And of course, short term, we did lose some revenue, but I will tell you that within months, the team pulling together, we not only replaced but exceeded the performance of that individual. And that individual has today come back and apologized for what he had done and thanked me for providing that leadership and doing the right thing.
See, that's the amazing thing that most people don't understand. Here you were with this decision. Do I stay with the money that's there? What if we don't act with integrity? We'll lose it. But what people don't realize is that when you do the right thing, the outcome is such that it's never as bad as you think it's going to be, and you end up coming back and going further and further. And most people just don't realize that.
Zig Ziglar. Ziglar. Inspiring true performance.
Let me share with you a true story out of my notebook of life. A number of years ago, got an incredible letter from a gentleman in Toronto with a substantial check in it. He said, my friend Steve Walker is following the wrong role model. He's working himself to death. His family is falling apart. His health is in danger. And he's modeling himself out of his boss. And he trusts you and respects you. If you will give us 1 hour, I will fly him to Dallas and give you this check. Wouldn't you love to have a friend like that? I sent the check back and I said, come on down. Steve and I had quite a little talk. And in our talk, I asked him why he had such a role model. What about this man that made him so completely important in his life? And he said, well, he's the most successful man I have ever known. And I said, well, Steve, what do you call success? Now, it took several minutes for him to go down the list. But the interesting thing is, though they're not in the same order that I have put them, or we list them now, these are the 8 things that he said he really considered to be successful. If a man was happy and healthy and at least reasonably prosperous and secure, if he had friends and peace of mind and good family relationship and the hope that the future is going to be better, he said, I'd consider that man as successful. Now I'm going to really encourage you to take some notes right here. And all I want you to do, and you'll be the only one that'll see it, somewhere right as I go down the list, write whether you get a plus on that one or a minus on that one. You'll be the only one to see it, but it might be an eye-opener. You see, most people never dare to evaluate really where they are. And you got to know where you are before you can really determine your chances of getting what you really want out of life. And so I said to Steve, I said, I understand that your boss is very important to you. You consider him to be successful. When he finally got through with the identification, as I said earlier, these were the 8 things that he said, I think that's important for success, to measure success. I said, well, Steve, let me ask you now, as far as happy is concerned, tell me, how happy is your boss? He said, oh, I don't think he's happy at all. I said, why not? He said, well, I've never heard him laugh, and he seldom smiles, and besides that, he's got ulcers. I said, well, do I give him a plus or a minus? He said, oh, you give him a minus. Please grade yourself as we go. This is so important for you. Then I said, that also tells me something about his health if he's got those ulcers. Do I give him a plus or a minus? He said, you give him a minus. I said, that also says something, Steve, about his peace of mind, because you don't get ulcers because of what you eat, but what's eating you. I said, do we give him a plus or a minus? He said, we give him a minus. I said, Steve, I've asked you one question about what success is, what balance is, what's important to you. One question, and your boss comes up with 3 minuses. I said, tell me how prosperous he is. He said, man, he's got money running out of his ears, and he's getting more every day. I said, we give him a plus on that one, don't we? He said, we sure do. I said, how secure is your boss? He said, well, he's as secure as money can make you. And I said, well, Steve, let me ask you, did you read where 2 billionaire brothers here in Dallas went bankrupt? I said, how does your boss compare? Oh, man, he doesn't have that kind of money. Did you read where our ex-governor was worth $100 million at one point? He's now bankrupt. How does your boss compare? Oh, he doesn't have that kind of money. Now, understand, Steve equated security with corporate position and bucks in the bank. So I said, well, Steve, let me ask you, would we give your boss a plus or a minus or just a question mark on that? He said, let's be generous and give him a question mark. I said, how many friends does your boss have? I hope you're marking these for you. How many friends, real friends, does your boss have? He said, I don't think he's got any. I'm not his friend. I just happen to admire the guy. To tell you the truth, he's somewhat of a jerk. And I said, okay, we give him a minus on that one. I said, tell me about his family. And he said, well, his wife's divorcing him. Well, that one's easy to answer. I said, how much hope does he have for the future? He said, well, before I started talking to you, I thought he had a lot. But right now, I don't think he's got any. Why did that statement come forth? Because for the first time, he had evaluated it. That's what we need to do. Evaluate where we are. Are we investing our time properly, using our resources properly? What will the end results be? Well, then I said to Steve, when that was over, we give him the minus there. I said, Steve, of the 8 things that you consider marks of success, he gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minuses. He gets 1 plus and 1 question mark. I asked Steve a question. I'm going to ask you the same question. Steve, would you swap places with your boss right now, knowing what you know? He looked at me kind of stunned. He slowly rose to his feet and said, no, I wouldn't. Would you?